This is a live TV news update. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Olubenga George. First, the headlines. Sanwo-Olu urges religious leaders to stop evil predictions. Governor Udom Emmanuel makes last-minute efforts to pacify G-5 governors. China reopens borders in final farewell to zero COVID-19. And Graham Potter's Chelsea dream turning into a nightmare.
Live TV.
And now the news in detail. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has cautioned those he described as fake prophets to desist from making evil predictions of violence and anarchy ahead of the 2023 general elections. Sanwo-Olu also appealed to Nigerians to disregard such predictions, saying they usually emanate from enemies of Nigeria. The governor spoke at Sunday at the 23rd Annual Thanksgiving Service organized by the First Family of Lagos State in conjunction with the Ministry of Home Affairs at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. In his words, Sanwo-Olu urged the people of Lagos to continue keeping faith with his government, saying he had lived up to the excellent spirit associated with Lagos State. He said his administration had delivered many iconic projects in all the 6 pillars of his administration's development agenda, saying, "We have done everything we promised." According to Sanwo-Olu, this year's Thanksgiving is significant because this is a general election year for Nigeria. Part of our supplications to God today is for us to witness another smooth and peaceful transition of government, a transition that will defy predictions of anarchy and violence peddled every election season by false prophets and enemies of our dear land, the governor says. And now, Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, is still hopeful of winning back 5 aggrieved governors of the People's Democratic Party ahead of the 2023 general elections. Reports obtained by Alive News reveal that the governor, who is the chairman of the Presidential Campaign Council of the PDP, is making moves to pacify Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike and his 4 other allies who have tagged themselves as G5 governors into accepting the presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar. Recall that the G5 governors, also known as the Integrity Group, include Governor Wike, Okeze Ikpeazu, Abia State, Seyi Makinde, Oyo State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, Enugu State, and Benue State Governor Samuel Otom. The Wike-led group have expressed their concern over the zoning style of the party, demanding that the national chairmanship position of the party be stripped of Yocha Ayu while a southerner occupies the seat. This was one of their conditions for supporting Atiku's candidacy. In a report earlier this morning, Alive News quoted sources as saying that Akwa Ibom governor is hopeful that his last move will bring back the G5, a development they described as belated. According to the source, Governor Emmanuel wants it to be on record that he made a concerted effort to reconcile the governors, but it didn't work. Reports further reveal that the G5 governor are of different interest to support either the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Tinubu or Labour Party's candidate Peter Obi. However, amid the speculations, the G5 governors have laid low on who they will support for the presidency as they now concentrate on their state-level politics. Recently, Governor Emmanuel met with Governor Tom at Akwa Ibom State Governor's Lodge, where they discussed about the possibilities of making peace with the G5 governors. And now to the foreign scene. Travelers streamed into China by air, land, and sea on Sunday, many eager for long-awaited reunions as Beijing opened borders that have been all but shut since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. After 3 years, mainland China opened sea and land crossings with Hong Kong and ended a requirement for incoming travelers to quarantine, dismantling a final pillar of a zero-COVID policy that has shielded China's 1.4 billion people from the virus, but also cut them off from the rest of the world. China's easing over the past month of one of the world's tightest COVID regimes followed historic protest against a policy that included frequent testing, curbs on movement, and mass lockdowns that heavily damaged the second biggest economy. Long queues formed at the Hong Kong International Airport's check-in counters for flights to mainland cities including Beijing, Tianjin, and Xiamen. Hong Kong media outlets estimated that thousands were crossing. Investors hope the reopening will reinvigorate a $17 trillion economy suffering its lowest growth in nearly half a century. But the abrupt policy reversal has triggered a massive wave of infection that is overwhelming some hospitals and causing business disruptions. The border opening follows Saturday's start of Chunyun, the 40-day period of Lunar New Year travel, which before the pandemic was the world's largest annual migration as people returned to their hometowns or took holidays with family. Some 2 billion trips are expected this season, nearly double last year's movement and recovering to 70% of 2019 levels, the government says. Many Chinese are also expected to start traveling abroad, a long-awaited shift for tourist spots in countries such as Thailand and Indonesia. But several governments, worried about China's COVID spike, are imposing curbs on travelers from the country. Now, away from that to sports. Manchester City have done plenty of damage to him and his squad this season, knocking them out of the Carabao Cup before Christmas and leaving Chelsea down in 10th place, 10 points off the top four with a Premier League win at Stamford Bridge on Thursday. And the 4-0 FA Cup demolition at the Etihad has now left Potter and his side reeling. It summed up all that has gone wrong for Chelsea this term, a team depleted by injuries, uncertain in its structure, unable to get the ball up the pitch into dangerous areas, and toothless in the final third. It's not just their defeats to an elite City side which have wrecked Chelsea's season, though. Across the past 8 rounds of Premier League games, Chelsea have the fewest wins and have scored the fewest goals. Brentford, Brighton and Nottingham Forest are among the teams to have taken points off them during that streak. It's their worst league run since 2010 to go with their first FA Cup third round exit since 1999. There are alarming statistics and unwanted records in what it is turning into a disastrous season. Potter now must be under massive pressure and is perhaps thankful the new ownership hasn't proved to be as ruthless as Roman Abramovich so far. The traveling Chelsea fans who booed their team off and sung songs for their former owner and Potter's predecessor Thomas Tuchel are suddenly running out of patience with this project. But what has gone so badly wrong? Chelsea, still club world champions, reached both domestic cup finals and finished best of the rest behind Man City and Liverpool last season. This is an incredible drop-off. And of course, Chelsea fans will be looking forward to these changes. And that's all on our live news update. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Olubinga George.
Alive TV.